Okay, Spider's back. I had to be back because I got to do more than that on the Grey Cup. Yeah, I had to cover that CFL chatter thing. Was really important for me to cover, but I'm going to do two back to back. We'll talk. We'll just have fun talking about whatever. Okay, have a beer together and talk. Yeah, but so listen. Please subscribe to my channel. Okay, because I want to read Brad's thing. You know, Brad McDonald. I got to read his. You know, but please subscribe to my channel, please. And because I never asked anybody to subscribe to my channel, and please understand me, and I tell the way it is. I call a spade a spade. This is totally authentic. It takes me almost 2 hours to set up, and I'm not going to have a green screen, but eventually I may have a new camera and buy a remote that I have a video running to my monitor. Okay, it'll be sharper, okay, than it is now, and so forth. So that may come, you know, soon, you know, before maybe a good Christmas present for the new year. Anyway, there's going to be a new CFL commissioner, so that'll be exciting. So, you know, you know, and the 111th Grey Cup. Well, BC are doing a pretty good job, I think. They got almost 50,000 seats sold, but there's still 4,000 or 5,000 or 6,000. There's a lot of empty seats there. But, you know, hopefully some more people will show up. Winnipeg fans, maybe some Argo fans too, let's hope. Okay, let's hope there will be. But anyway, we have to be a lot nicer. And I mean, I stand up for myself. And these people have got to be called out. These radical leftist, liberal haters, jealous people. They're awful people. They're ruining our world, they're ruining our country, ruining our cities, and we have to call them out. You know, we have to call them out, and they got to be called out. Seriously.
Hey, back at you, Spider, here comes Spider, CFL Red-Zone Rule. Gonna have another toast to the Eskimos.
Okay, Brad says I got some Brad stuff here. Brad McDonald, okay? This is a month ago, I believe. I think this is Brad. Yeah, I think it is. Eskimo mug. Someone commented on my Eskimo mug. Thank you for doing that. There it is, because I'm all for the Eskimo. They better bring the Eskimos name back, not the Esks. That's ridiculous. What are you scared? Randy Ambrosie's gone, okay? The Eskimos would be proud to have their name back. That was just a political move by Trudeau and radical leftist liberal Randy Ambrosio, who's out on his ass, okay, with his hash mark rule stuck up his ass. Probably good. Anyway, Eskimos mug. There's Spider-Man. That's, I think, Brad McDonald. I took in and saw a game in Montreal. He was to Montreal, CFL game. It was like a playoff game. At the end, in August, there, the Eskimos were down. Sorry, the Alouettes were down 17-6 at halftime. Then came back to win 21-17 over the Elks. Had a ball on the 2-yard line with had the ball on the 20-yard line with a minute to go. Okay, and then he says something about but fire Ambrosie, yes, idiot. And then he says, I hope you see, this is Brad McDonald, he says, I hope I see you around, possible at a SMU game. Or then he talks about the debates, okay? They try to really screw, he's talking about Fillmore, the new radical leftist liberal mayor. Yeah, oh yeah. Just look at all the druggies. They lie. I drove down this morning. I had to drive my friend to dental school for dental work, and they CTV lie. It's all like they cover up all their Trudeau's corruptness and Mayor Savage and their leftists, Fillmore, and the radical leftist city councillors. Lies and corruptness, and said, oh, there's only 6 or less tents there. There's 70 there. There's 15 there, not 6. I drove by them and counted them. Radical, and they're all druggies and criminals. And the police can't even do their job because they're radical leftists. Fillmore now and Mayor Savage, who lied, so they all go to work every day with lunch counters. No, they don't. They're breaking the business down there. They're all drugged out of it. Needles everywhere. They destroyed our city. There's druggies and drug panel all over our city with their filth and their drugs, their needles, and their garbage. Like, it's unbelievable. And Brad says, I hope to see you, yeah, at this possible SMU game. Then he says, thanks. I say, thanks, Brad. I will read your post, my next video, okay, next week, and so I'm reading it now, okay, and it says St. Mary's game, but probably won't host, will probably make the playoffs, won't host a game, and X will beat them, actually beat X, and they almost beat Bishops and Imagine in triple overtime. They should have won. They fumbled the ball and they should have won. Anyway, here we are. I read that, Brad, listen. Thanks again, Brad McDonald. When there was Atlantic Scooters, Let's Talk CFL. I don't know, Christopher Jones was involved in that because there's some people posting saying good things in my rule there, and they were going after my rule again. Like, just terrible. They're just terrible. But they shut down because Atlantic Schooners are done. Okay? And what Halifax has to do here, seriously, if they spend $40 million of their taxpayers' money and put CPL's got money, I guess. They're getting money from FIFA or somewhere, soccer, or somewhere to expand. I thought they were going to go out of business, but they're pumping money into them. And now with the Mark Cohen went, I couldn't believe it, with the women's semi-pro soccer. Why didn't they call him back to be commissioner of the CFL? Look at the job he did last time. But anyway, like Halifax, they spend $40 million on a little Mickey Mouse makeshift, prefabricated, modular little soccer wooden stadium at Wandiscon at 8,500 expandable to 13,000 is ridiculous. Waste our taxpayers. Spend at least $100 million. Dave Taylor, you're wrong. You say need at least $350 million to build a stadium. Are you kidding me? And then Jamie Knight said, well, at least $150 for 24. No, you don't. Like, if you use your own steel, use your own workers here, use your own concrete, everything, and you own the land. And like St. Mary's, too bad they put the Exchange building there, because that would have been a perfect place, and you could have done it easy for $100 million or even 85, what you could have done there. Seriously. No, it still can be done. It still can be done. It's not going to be elaborate like that, but you have skybox, you have all the amenities, you have a jumbo screen, you have 24,000 capacity with permanent back seats and expandable in the end zones to 30,000 or 28,000 to 30 for a Grey Cup. You can still do it. There's ways. There's ways of doing it. There's cheaper ways of doing it. So anyway, Phil Moore is a radical leftist liberal, and he was down there at Mayor Savage said, I saw a picture of him at the CPL Wanderers grounds, so that's going to be approved. We'll never get a CFL team here. Quebec City is the only hope in Canada. But I think that it should go to St. Louis if the USFL, which is basically the XFL folds. It should go to St. Louis. You know, we need a 10th team. You know, that'd be 5 games a week, you know, even schedule. The Grey Cup would be played 2 weeks earlier, you know, the first week in November, just after Halloween. Yeah, warmer weather, better too. Forget about the World Series. The Blue Jays never there anyway. So anyway, I'm back. I have a little toast, and you know, yes, the Eskimos. There's your Eskimo mug. We'll put it up there. We'll put them up. Bring back the Eskimos name, the Edmonton Eskimos. So let's talk about the Grey Cup. Who's going to win the Grey Cup? Who's going to win the Grey Cup? Well, Collaros is a bona fide, the best CFL quarterback, most experienced. Won 2 Grey Cups. They lost 2, but they should have won actually 4. If they win this one, they're a dynasty. And Lawler is the top receiver. And they got a really good defense and good defensive backs. And Arbuckle just can't stack up to Collaros. There's no way. The only way the Argonauts can win, possible way, if somehow the defense gets a lot of sacks from Collaros and throws him off his game. But they don't have the defensive backs to cover Lawler. They don't have them. Toronto do not have them. Franklin's the only guy. They just don't have them. So they're gonna explore that, and they're gonna go deep, and they're not gonna be able to stop him. And Arbuckle's not gonna be able to match him because he's gonna play very conservative, because he's going to be very nervous. He's going to play very conservative. He doesn't make any turnovers. Or he's going to be scared to throw the ball deep. That's what that's what's going to happen. And I don't think it's doing much of a game. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it'd be quite a story if Arbuckle could imagine if he could play a great game. But it's hard to think that he can compete with Collaros and the Bombers. And they're hungry, man. They're hungry. I don't even think they're organized at practice as much as the Bombers. I think the Bombers are practicing Monday at BC Place. I don't think the Argonauts even practiced, and they arrived there early on Monday, but I don't think they did. So you can't have just in the film room with Miller, the quarterback coach, with the Argonauts, and translate that to the field at Arbuckle. He hasn't hardly played one game, played maybe a quarter or two here, but he hasn't played. Claire's, I mean, not only that, they won, I think, 10 of the last 11 games. I thought I heard something like that. It's ridiculous. So maybe it's not. It's quite as maybe it's 8 out of 10 or something. But I thought I heard something like that, 10, 11. Maybe that's incorrect, but that I heard, didn't hear right. But I know they won at least 8 of the last 10 or more. I mean they're on a roll. They're the hottest team in the CFL, and they have no injuries. And they're underneath the dome there. I know the Argonauts beat them twice this year, but they're not going to, and they didn't even have Chad Kelly, but they're not going to beat them. They're not going to beat them in the Grey Cup. They're just not going to do it. I just hope, look, I hope it's a competitive game. Let's just hope it's a competitive game. Think about that. Cheers to all the good people, decent CFL fans out there, and to all my supporters that are behind my CFL World. And thanks again, Mr. Rogers, for putting that up. CFL Chatter, you can find, just read that. The sleazebags, the comments, and put some really good comments, and positive comments with my CFL Red Zone Rule. And how hard I've worked for 5 years to come up with my CFL Red Zone Rule. And you imagine my 3 endorsements. Put my 3 endorsements there. If you think Far and Logi's an idiot, like Christopher Jones basically called me my rule. You're the idiot, Christopher Jones, and you're a hateful, radical, leftist, liberal hater. That's what you are. And jealous. You're jealous. You're the idiot. And nobody listens to your show. You're a bunch of bullies, idiots, and radical leftist liberals, bullies. Jealous haters, that's exactly, all of them make those comments like that. So let's put some positive comments up there. That's what we need to do on CFL Chat for Mr. Rogers. And Mr. Rogers, you put some up there too. Let's counter them, okay? Because we outnumber those awful people. It's exactly what they are. They're terrible people. Terrible people. So anyway, we're the good people. Okay, we're the people with a brain. We're the people that respect people. We're the people that aren't jealous people. We compliment people. We're happy for people that are successful. We respect people that work hard on a project like I did to come up with my rule. I mean, listen, I gathered all the information from the survey I did from 500 people I surveyed. Yes, and they want the Canadian ratio go. And yes, they said there's too much kicking in the CFL. That's why they don't want. And yes, they said there's too many field goals for points in the CFL. And yes, they said the biggest killer and biggest turn off because in the red zone they said too many 2-and-outs, 2-down football stops in the red zone, and way too many easy chip shot field goals in the red zone or slightly outside, depending on where the second down stop is made in the red zone. And they said those are the 2 biggest killers, basically playing 2-down football unless on the 1-yard line they don't go for it. And that's why they were so sold my CFL Red Zone Rule. Every one of them. And by the way, every American CFL player, if they know about my CFL Red Zone Rule, I know that President Alamillion, I don't even pronounce his name, Alamillion, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Alamillion. I think that's it. I don't know. It's something hard to pronounce. But I'm sure, I hope he's sent at least to the American players because they'll endorse my rule. That's something hard to pronounce that. I'm sorry about that. Okay, some words you stumble over, and other words that are even more difficult, you can roll like bang. Come right off your tongue. It's funny, isn't it? Alamillion. I think that's it. Boy, it's hard. That's a hard one. I know it's spelled, I think, Elimininian. Okay, I know the spelling. Anyway, get it out at least to the CFL American players because they're all endorsed my rule, okay? And listen, I need somebody to come out and really expose them. I'm going to have a plan. You know what I want to do with my son? I said to my son for the 2026 Grey Cup in Calgary, I want to get little footballs made. Little footballs with SPYDER CFL Red-Zone Rule on it? Sort of like this, my football, that's a football right there, just like that. My logo there, with the football lines, and then my SPYDER CFL Red-Zone Rule, like in gray, like that. That's my color, my hats and that. And then my logo, and in red and black, and make little footballs like that. I'm going to give them out to kids. at the 2026 Grey Cup. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a Spider CFL Red-Zone Rule bag with my footballs out, and I'm going to give them out to kids. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy, and with my CFL Red-Zone Rule Facebook page, the new one. I have a new brochure, brand new, which is my Spider CFL Red-Zone Rule in a nutshell. At the back, brand new ones. This is my old one. I have brand new ones that I'm going to have at the 2026 Grey Cup. And little mini footballs, I hope, for kids. Imagine. That's what I'm going to do. Anyway, so go back to the 100th Grey Cup. 111th Grey Cup in Vancouver. They're doing a great job with the festivities, and they got not rain, but they got sun today. And then the zip line is happening, but they got a lot of festivities, a lot of great concerts going on. There's going to be 50,000 people there, and the 54,500, that's 50,000 people still. You know, like there's still a lot of people going to be there. And I think that could be for the Argonauts, for Arbuckle, because it's quite a story, although they don't like Chad Kelly. So they could probably boo the Argonauts. I hope not. I hope they don't do that whole, you don't do that. You don't take that on the whole team, the whole organization, or Pinball Clemens, or the coaching, D-Witty, or the coaching staff of their players, Arbuckle. He's quite a story. But I hope he's competitive. I hope they're competitive. They got a great team defensively, the Argonauts. They do. And they got a lot of good receivers. Daniels, man, like they got other great receivers as well. And the special team, Grant, he won the special team award. I mean, he's a specialist. He got a touchdown return in Montreal that killed him. He can burn him. He was a Winnipeg Blue Bomber. He can burn him. But they're going to be kicking away from him and try to, like corner him and get down the field, high kicks, so he can't. But like they're going to use him in an offense too. I hope so. And Carey could be a factor of the running game, but all of it. I mean, Winnipeg's going to run their most outstanding player and most outstanding Canadian player. Like they're going to pound him. But if the Argonauts could stop him and sack Caleris, man, if they could get the ball 2 and outs on him, turn over and get the possession of the ball more, and have a good offensive, game plan. You don't know what could happen. And then there's turnovers, because they were aggressive. They had 6 turnovers against the Alouettes. But whether or not, and by the way, the Alouettes easily could have won that game, and I think they could have beat the Bombers again. I mean, they're that good, but they had too many turnovers. You can't win 6 turnovers. But they still almost won. I mean, and Chad Kelly goes down with a broken tibula. He's out for 9 months. He'd probably be gone. You see Vernon Adams. Where's Alexander's going to go? Alexander, come on, Stampeders. There's could be a franchise quarterback. Go after him. He shouldn't have signed Walker, NFL court coming. He's not going to do nothing. 29, 30. He's not that old, but still. Like, he's not going to be able to play CFL football. Alexander's got it down. Look at, he won, I think, 4 games this year for the Alouettes, didn't he? I mean, 4 or 5 games, I believe. But anyway, listen, I love doing this, and tomorrow the Grey Cup Saturday, and then, listen, I really enjoy Grey Cup. I used to have parties here all the time, Grey Cup parties, when my son was living here, but I think my son may have a Grey Cup party. I hope he does. He'll be watching the Grey Cup. I'll be watching the Grey Cup. I always do. I watch everything start from Freddy's Grey Cup Saturday when they start. It's on at 2 o'clock Atlantic time, by the way. And it's on CTV. That's a big thing, So they thought they wanted the Alouettes of Saskatchewan for the numbers, but Winnipeg's and the Alouettes rematch would probably have been bigger, because look at the big audience you get, Quebec audience you'd get. But so they're not going to have the numbers. But it depends on the Argonaut market, though. It's a big city, but imagine that Taylor Swift. I couldn't believe it. The 50,000 in the Sky Dome. I thought it was the Scotiabanks that were where the Maple Leafs play. I couldn't believe it. That's how brainwashed. People don't know anything about music. She's a total lip syncer. She can maybe play 3 chords on the guitar, and it's all fake. And maybe 3 on the chords on the piano. Maybe 4. That's just some music marketing. It's such a scam. It's such a snow job. It's beyond marketing. It's like unbelievable. I never seen anything so fake in all my life, and people buying into that, and numbers well, it's the internet too. You know, you imagine the Guess Who had American Woman when it was #1 with the internet and YouTube. You imagine how many plays they would have had? They would have had billions. Imagine the Guess Who. There's no doubt about it. I love the Guess Who, and that's why I'm so Canadian. Think about how Canadian I am, okay? I don't watch the NFL. I only watch the CFL. So you don't think I want the best Canadian players to play in the CFL? But I don't want a Canadian ratio. They'll be way more respected. The CFL will be way more respected. Okay, a 3-down game would be way more respected. Imagine with SPYDER S, CFL Red-Zone Rule, what kind of game we'd have. And get rid of the one-year contracts. Get a commissioner like Mark Cohen. You can't have a commissioner, a Canadian ratio commissioner, guaranteed, like an old line like Randy Ambrosie. You have to have a real businessman, a real salesman, right? A real person that can market the game and sell the game. And sell like NFL sells NFL football, and like how NFL sells NFL football in their own country. But no, you sell CFL football better than the NFL does in their own country. That's what you do. And you get the owners. And by the way, forgot about numbers. Okay, I guess they had numbers in the final, Eastern Western final. I forgot to mention that last session. I mentioned this session 1.7 million, 1.5 million. It was unbelievable. Quebec audience was used in Montreal, but both games were up 17-18%. That was awesome. But here, Randy Ambrosie, I forgot two numbers, right? Two things I forgot to talk about. Ambrosie, when he came in as commissioner, said he was going to double the revenue from the CFL from 100 to 200 million. He never even came close. And that's another reason to fire. And another, Genius in Sports, the owners are, and maybe Saskatchewan would have voted for him. I heard that they voted for him. So that means Hamlin didn't vote for him. And because it's Genius Sports, okay, took 10% of the profits away, when their profit sharing with the players, away from the owners. Imagine. And Genius Sports was a disaster. With their statistics and their stats, it was a disaster. So that's another reason he got fired. And I think Genius Sports will be gone with this new commissioner. And I think the Global 2.0 will be gone too. You can't have where a global player takes an American spot. And the Canadian ratio is going to be revisited, I can guarantee you. The owners have to step up. They wanted it gone last time, remember? Because of the pandemic and all this, and they were desperate to make a deal, and TSN needed the CFL. But listen, the CFL, you know what? Lock them out and screw TSN. Lock them out and get rid of the Canadian ratio. Bring in my CFL Red-Zone Rule. Okay? Get rid of the Canadian handcuffing, dictating Canadian ratio. Allow the best available players to be recruited and the best available players to start and play at every position, okay, during an entire CFL game. Just like all the other professional, successful sports leagues do, including MLS soccer. And get rid of the one-year contracts and stop the referees. I'm very disappointed in Major being the referee call for the Grey Cup. He's terrible. He's terrible. He's brutal. And you got to get better referees and get rid of the Canadian flag football league. The flag's got to be diminished. You got to fire these referees, get them better referees, and stop this foolishness. At every return, in every big play, for a punt return, there's a flag. Or too many holding when they're borderline calls. Borderline calls, you don't call them, okay? Like the NFL doesn't do that. That has to stop. So you need a commissioner who's going to stop that. You need a commissioner with the owners that are going to lock them out and abolish the Canadian Players Association that's basically controlled by Canadian players because they have majority of the vote. And they're controlling, basically running the CFL and into the ground with the Canadian ratio. And imbalance in salaries too. They're demanding way more money when they're not even good enough to start be on the Canadian roster and getting $200,000 in a bum old lineman that can't protect your investment in your star quarterback. It's got to go. The Canadian ratio has got to go. The one-year contract's got to go. You got to be committed, like Mark Cohen said. He wanted 3 contracts that they had to be committed to, and they couldn't get out of. And that's what probably has to happen. 3, 2 years minimum, but it should be actually 3. And like Mark Cohen says, if you don't want to sign, okay, American or Canadian player, and by the way, the Canadian ratio has got to go. The Canadian player has to make the roster and make a starting spot. Then, like Mark Cohen said, I find a player that will, and you will find them, okay? Because then the CFL will sell jerseys. Then there'll be continuity. Then fans will be able to relate to the team. And with the Canadian ratio gone, you're going to be, hey, you have your best players playing CFL level, its highest level, with the best available players, with the best rule ever adopted by the CFL, with my SPYDER CFL Red-Zone Rule. Okay? And also the practice time has to go at least 6 hours minimum. So anyway, this session worked out good. I'm glad it did. And yes, I'm as Canadian as I can get. And yes, I'm for the top best Canadian players to play in the CFL. Too bad they're all going. But you can't have a two-way street. You can't have restrictions put on CFL GMs and owners and CFL coaches. You're not even allowed to recruit, okay, or the best available players to start, your best O-lineman to protect your star quarterback, or your best receivers, not allowed even to play them, or best O-lineman, okay, best defensive line, best defensive backs, not even allowed to play them. You can't recruit them, you can't play them. Like in the CFL playoffs, during the CFL season, or a Grey Cup game, are you kidding me? And this bullshit about this American, national American, nationalized America is bullshit. Get rid of that. You just get rid of the Canadian ratio. That's what you have to do. Got to get new commissioner and CFL owners on board to do that, and lock them out if you have to do it. That's what has to happen. And you need my CFL Red-Zone Rule, and you need to get rid of one-year contracts and the Canadian Flag Football League. Get rid of those. Fire those referees. All questionable, borderline calls aren't to be called, and you got to practice at least 6 hours, okay, not 4.5 a day, okay. Here's to the 100th Grey Cup. Hope there's a good Grey Cup. I hope the Argonauts 111th Grey Cup in Vancouver, and I hope it's successful, and I hope there's 50,000 plus fans there, and I hope it's a great game. I hope Arbuckle, I like his story, and I hope he does well. I hope the Argonauts, I hope it's competitive, okay, and the best team win. And listen, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your support. Go on that CFL chatter. Just Google my SPYDER CFL Red-Zone Rule Facebook page, and go on that Facebook page and look. My brochure's on there, my new one. My CFL Red-Zone Rule presentation's on there. Okay, okay. But go find that CFL chatter by my CFL Red-Zone Rule Facebook page on Google, and post a good thing about my CFL Red-Zone Rule and about SPYDER. Okay, SPYDER, here comes SPYDER CFL.